I don't know about you, but I'm finding it increasingly more difficult to recall past memories, memories from my past. Now, I know there's all sorts of things that can cause this. The brain is quite complex, and I know for myself, trauma has played a large part in some of my memory loss. There's been aspects of my life that I just cannot recall at all. There's, like a couple of years have just gone. I cannot recall them. And I rely on listening to other people's accounts of what was going on in my life at that time to actually be able to kind of create a new memory, to be precise. It's not recalling the old one. What I've learned is that memories aren't stored on it like on a DVD. That's how I imagined it. I felt like I just had this like a DVD disc in my brain, and I was always told that as you got older, you recall the earlier parts of your life. And I was thinking, oh, that's because I'm going back over the original part of the disc. But that's not the case at all, evidently. I did do a little bit of research on it a while back. And what we actually do is store fragments, and they are based on emotions and reactions and impressions that we've got of the experience we're having. And then when we try to recall it, our brain actually reassembles everything, a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, and we have the memory. And then each time we recall it, it's actually the last recollection that those impressions are brought forward again. So we're actually rehashing it, and it's like a Chinese whisper, isn't it? But by the time you've revisited those memories over a long period of time, they've probably distorted greatly. And it's only by, again, spending time with people, friends and family that experience those same happenings with you that can throw a bit of light on it, and we can compare notes, so to speak. Because we each see an event from our own set of eyes and ears, we all have a different perspective, I suppose, of something that's happened. And in my family, my brother is a great storyteller, and I love hearing him recount the things that happened to us as children and even into our adulthood. He seems to have a great memory. There's nothing wrong with his at all. And it's by listening to him retell stories that will start to bring to life in me some of my lost memories. And I think it's so important for us to keep checking in with others and to think about those different memories, because otherwise they tend to get lost, and it's not until they're triggered by maybe watching a movie, something that will trigger an old memory, and then you'll start to think, now, well, did I imagine that? Did I dream it? Or did it really happen? So I think it's very, very important to me to have that contact with other people so that I can try and get some of those memories back. Otherwise, if they're not being stimulated, I think they just get filed in the bin at the back, and unless some trigger happens, I'm not going to look at them again. And that's a pity, because I think our past as should be preserved in any way that we can find to do so. I guess it's a problem for the elderly. We often do get kind of in a bit of a rut and don't talk to people about our past so much, and therefore we do run the risk of being forgetful about the things that really happened to us. Something that's probably a modern day problem is also watching short form content. Um, I do get trapped into it at times. I mean, I pick up my phone, and next thing I know, I'm scrolling through some stupid thing. I don't even know why I'm watching it. You go on to check your bank balance, and next thing you know, you're on Facebook and you're doing scrolling through reels, and those kind of things. What they do evidently is offer your brain a dopamine hit. And that's why we tend to do it. But what that does, though, in turn, is when we go to do something that's a bit boring, because the brain, after it's been stimulated by those reels, thinks that when you're studying or reading, it wants to do something more exciting. It wants that dopamine hit. So next thing you know, you're picking up your phone. So I suppose the moral of that story is try and keep the devices out of the way if you're going to do some reading, writing, or doing something like that, so that you're not tempted. And I know it's something that I've got to look at. But yes, to try and stimulate the brain, we need to spend time walking in nature, walking, light exercise, even if it's only 10-15 minutes, is quite valuable because it gives your brain a rest. It gives it time to get away from the devices and yeah, start to enjoy what you're doing without that dopamine. Of course, learning a language, doing puzzles, and I'm a firm believer that pen and paper puzzles, jigsaw puzzles, those kind of things are much better than, because I have done jigsaw puzzles on an iPad and Sudoku and those kind of games, but there's something not quite tangible about, I think there's something about having a pen in your hand and the paper, and it gets the eye-hand coordination. I don't know, it just seems to be more effective. There's probably data on that. I should do some research. So yes, I think that there's a lot to be said about getting away from devices, putting them in another room, and just doing some things that will stimulate our brain, not with a dopamine hit, but another thing I'm guilty of is multitasking. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm not really paying much attention to either of those tasks that I'm doing at the same time. So therefore the memory is going to be a little diluted. But I think probably the best thing that I've done is start this channel, this YouTube channel, because by doing so I'm recording my life, and therefore when I'm really old and decrepit and forgotten everything, I can rewatch them and think, oh, that's if I recognise myself, of course. But yes, I must admit that has been a bonus. I did start as a cure for my procrastination, for my commitment to each of you who've regularly watched my videos, and to the new ones that are watching as well. So it's a win-win situation. We all get something perhaps from it. Well, to my friends in the USA, you're having Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving for you coming up this weekend. And to everybody else, I hope you're having a wonderful time, keeping warm, keeping dry, keeping happy. And I really do appreciate you. So thank you for being here with me today. And I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.